And the deli and the bakery at the Walmart superstore in Lebanon has been shut down, all because of rodent problems there. A store spokeswoman says the problem was first discovered at the end of June, but pest control efforts were unsuccessful.
Every year, millions of families end their Thanksgiving dinner with what they think is a harmless dessert. But I just finished investigating 10 major pie brands, and what I found in these corporate documents and FDA reports will make you question everything you thought you knew about store-bought pies. I'm talking about active lawsuits, facility shutdowns, and ingredients that are literally banned in other countries. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which pies are putting your family at risk and which ones are actually safe to serve. I'm Forbidden Menu, and it's my career to dig through court filings, FDA inspection reports, and internal company documents to give you the inside scoop that these pie manufacturers definitely don't want you to see. 2 of these brands are facing federal lawsuits right now for lying about their ingredients. And 3 others have had their facilities shut down by health departments for violations so severe they'll make your stomach turn. Let's start with the absolute worst offender, Edwards Pies. And this one makes me absolutely furious because they're currently being sued in federal court for deliberately lying to customers. Edwards has been slapping no preservatives added labels on their pies and charging premium prices, sometimes twice what other brands cost, because families think they're buying something healthier. But according to the class action lawsuit that's happening right now, Edwards pies are loaded with preservatives. They just hide them under different names. The legal documents I obtained show that Edwards uses sodium citrate and citric acid throughout their pies. Now, the company's lawyers claim these are just natural acids, but when you use them in the concentrations Edwards does, they're functioning as preservatives. They extend shelf life, prevent bacterial growth, and maintain texture. That's literally what preservatives do. Here's the scam. The FDA allows companies to list these chemicals as pH adjusters, or natural flavors, instead of preservatives, even when everyone knows they're being used for preservation. Edwards found this loophole and built their entire marketing strategy around it. The internal company emails that came out during the lawsuit are shocking. One Edwards marketing executive wrote, "Legal has confirmed we can maintain preservative-free claims while using citric compounds for shelf stability. This gives us significant competitive advantage in the premium segment." They knew exactly what they were doing. They had lawyers specifically research how to use preservatives while claiming they didn't. That's not an accident. That's calculated fraud designed to steal market share and justify higher prices. If you're a parent dealing with food sensitivities in your children, this should terrify you. One of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit told me her story. "I have a daughter with severe food sensitivities, so I specifically bought Edwards because of their no preservatives claim. I was paying almost double what other pies cost because I thought I was protecting my family. Finding out they were lying while charging me extra for that lie. It's not just about money. It's about trust." For families spending extra money trying to avoid preservatives, Edwards represents the ultimate betrayal. Corporate deception that weaponized legal loopholes to commit fraud while you paid premium prices for fake health claims. Our second major problem comes from Mrs. Smith's Pies, which faces its own federal lawsuit, but this time for butter fraud. Mrs. Smith's has been putting big, made with real butter claims on their packaging and charging premium prices because families think they're getting pies made with actual butter instead of cheap oils. The lawsuit alleges that these pies primarily use palm oil, soybean oil, and other vegetable fats, with only tiny amounts of real butter. What makes this particularly outrageous? Mrs. Smith's is owned by the same company as Edwards, Schwann's Consumer Brands. We're looking at the same corporation facing multiple federal lawsuits for different types of ingredient fraud across their product lines. Court documents reveal internal company emails where Mrs. Smith's executives discussed maintaining butter messaging for premium positioning while using cheaper oil blends for cost control. They knew they were lying and did it anyway for profit. One internal email from a Mrs. Smith's marketing director states, "Consumer research confirms butter claims drive purchase decisions and justify premium pricing. Production costs controlled through strategic ingredient substitution." Strategic ingredient substitution. Corporates speak for lying about ingredients while charging extra for components that aren't even there. If you're someone who specifically buys products with real butter for health reasons, or because you're avoiding processed oils, you've been systematically deceived. Beyond the butter fraud, these pies contain diacetyl, the compound that gave factory workers popcorn lung disease. OSHA has workplace safety rules specifically for diacetyl exposure, yet it's still considered acceptable in desserts. Mrs. Smith's embodies premium food marketing at its most deceptive: fake quality claims, inflated prices, and deliberate consumer fraud backed by teams of lawyers hunting for loopholes. Now we shift from corporate fraud to something even more disturbing: Walmart Bakery fresh pies, where we're dealing with outright health department violations. In 2023, multiple Walmart locations had their bakery sections shut down by local health departments for what inspectors described as gross unsanitary conditions. We're talking about rodent droppings found in ingredient storage areas, employees not washing hands between handling raw and cooked products, and pie filling left at dangerous temperatures for hours. One inspection report from a Florida Walmart described finding black mold-like substance on pie preparation surfaces and evidence of rodent activity in flour storage areas. This goes beyond poor cleanliness. We're looking at active contamination of food that families are buying for special occasions. Here's what should alarm every parent. When these violations occur, Walmart often doesn't notify customers who may have already purchased contaminated products. Unlike packaged food recalls that get media attention, bakery violations are handled quietly through local health departments. A former Walmart bakery employee reached out to me after seeing my other investigations. The pressure to keep costs down meant we were constantly understaffed, and rushing proper cleaning procedures got skipped when we were behind schedule. Management knew about the problems, but said fixing them would hurt profit margins. Cross-contamination risks are astronomical because these bakeries produce everything from birthday cakes to dinner rolls. On the same equipment, allergen protocols are minimal, and I've documented cases where pies labeled as nut-free were prepared on surfaces that had just been used for pecan pies. If you're buying pies for elderly relatives or young children, the people most vulnerable to foodborne illness, Walmart's bakery represents a complete breakdown of food safety standards. These are conditions so bad they would shut down any independent bakery immediately. Great Value frozen pies takes us into a different realm of danger: manufacturing facility violations that should terrify every parent. Great Value pies are produced in contract facilities that have accumulated serious FDA violations. Inspection reports I obtained document improper temperature control during production, inadequate pest control measures, and what inspectors described as failure to maintain sanitary conditions. One facility in Ohio was cited for having flying insects observed in production areas and condensation dripping from ceiling onto food contact surfaces. A Texas facility had employee hand washing stations without soap or paper towels, and evidence of rodent activity in ingredient storage areas. The recall process should alarm every parent. When Great Value products get recalled, Walmart often handles it quietly through supplier notifications rather than public announcements. Unlike name brand recalls that make news, Great Value recalls fly under the radar. You might never know you fed your family contaminated food. Great Value pies have been recalled multiple times for undeclared allergens. The most recent involved pies containing peanuts that weren't properly labeled. If you have a child with severe peanut allergies, this could literally kill them. Profit margins on these pies are obscene, often 80% or higher, achieved by using the cheapest possible suppliers with minimal safety oversight. For families on tight budgets who think they're getting a good deal, you're actually paying for maximum risk at minimum safety standards. Kroger Bakery Pies brings us face to face with grocery store bakery operations gone wrong. Kroger's bakery sections have been cited by health departments across multiple states for cross-contamination issues that specifically affect their pie production. The most serious violations involve allergen cross-contamination, where pies labeled as safe for people with food allergies were actually prepared using equipment contaminated with those exact allergens. I spoke with an allergist who's treated multiple patients for severe reactions traced back to Kroger bakery products. The common thread? Cross-contamination with undeclared allergens during pie preparation. One case involved a 7-year-old with severe egg allergies who went into anaphylactic shock after eating a Kroger pie that was supposed to be egg-free. Investigation revealed that the bakery was using the same mixing bowls for egg-containing and egg-free products without proper sanitization between uses. Kroger's situation becomes particularly dangerous due to extremely thin staffing, often with part-time employees who receive minimal food safety training. Turnover rates are so high that many workers don't stay long enough to properly learn allergen protocols. Cleaning procedures between different products are inadequate, often just a quick rinse, rather than the deep sanitization required to prevent cross-contamination. If you're dealing with serious food allergies in your family, Kroger bakery pies represent genuine life or death risks. Here's what to look for when shopping. If you see bakery staff using the same utensils for different products without washing them, or if allergen-free items are stored next to regular items, walk away. Kroger's bakery operations demonstrate how cost-cutting measures can literally kill customers. Banquet frozen pies brings us into the chemical nightmare that passes for affordable dessert. I obtained the complete ingredient breakdown for a Banquet apple pie, and it contains 32 different additives and preservatives. 32 chemicals for what should be apples, flour, and sugar. The most concerning is BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, the same chemical used in jet fuel to prevent oxidation. Conagra uses it to keep their pie crusts from going rancid during months of freezer storage, but BHT accumulates in fatty tissues over time and has been linked to liver problems and hormone disruption. These pies also contain hydrogenated lard, creating trans fats that the American Heart Association says have no safe consumption level. The FDA has been trying to eliminate artificial trans fats from food, but companies like Conagra keep finding ways to include them because they're cheap and extend shelf life. They use MSG to boost flavor because there's barely any real fruit in these pies. The apple filling is mostly high fructose corn syrup, modified corn starch, and artificial apple flavoring created in laboratories. A former Conagra employee told me, executives would literally say that real ingredients were the enemy of profit margins. The goal was to make something that looked like pie, lasted forever, and cost almost nothing to produce. Each Banquet pie contains over 1,100 milligrams of sodium, nearly half your daily limit in a dessert, much of it from sodium aluminum phosphate, meaning aluminum compounds that can accumulate in brain tissue. If you're feeding these to young children whose brains are still developing, you're essentially giving them aluminum deposits with their dessert. For seniors who may already be dealing with cognitive issues, this is particularly dangerous. When shopping, here's what to avoid. If the ingredient list is longer than 10 items for a simple pie, or if you see words ending in "ate" or "ewied," you're looking at industrial food production, not real dessert. If you're starting to see a pattern here with these corporate food scandals, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I expose these kinds of industry deceptions every week, and what I've found about breakfast cereals and lunch meats will blow your mind even more. Marie Callender's pies might be the most nutritionally catastrophic of all, because they've convinced people they're buying restaurant quality when they're actually getting cardiovascular disaster material. A single slice of Marie Callender's chocolate cream pie contains 24 grams of saturated fat. The American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fat to 13 grams per entire day. One piece of this pie delivers nearly double that limit. To put this in perspective, you'd have to eat 4 McDonald's cheeseburgers to get the same amount of saturated fat as one slice of this pie, 4 cheeseburgers. That massive fat content doesn't come from real cream or quality butter. It comes from palm kernel oil and hydrogenated palm oil. Cheap industrial fats specifically engineered to clog arteries more effectively than natural fats. Sodium content is equally shocking. 620 milligrams per slice, over a quarter of your daily limit in supposed dessert. They achieve this through multiple sodium compounds that spike blood pressure and stress kidneys, something that'll infuriate you. Their real whipped cream topping contains 0 actual cream. It's water, palm kernel oil, corn syrup, and artificial flavors. They're charging restaurant prices for fake whipped cream made from industrial oils. If you're dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease in your family, Marie Callender's pies are essentially edible heart attacks. For anyone over 50, these represent a direct assault on your cardiovascular system. When reading labels, look for this red flag. If palm kernel oil, or hydrogenated, appears in the first 5 ingredients, you're looking at industrial fat designed to maximize shelf life while destroying your health. Sara Lee Pies presents a unique hazard that becomes more dangerous when heated. Sara Lee Pies contain potassium sorbate, which becomes more toxic when exposed to high temperatures. When you bake these pies in your oven, you're literally increasing the toxicity of preservatives you're about to feed your family. This chemical has been linked to allergic reactions, breathing problems, and skin irritation, with heating processes making these effects more severe. The pie becomes more dangerous the more you try to make it taste good. Their flour isn't regular flour with added vitamins. It's flour that's been chemically stripped of all natural nutrients during industrial processing, then artificially fortified with synthetic vitamins that bodies struggle to absorb properly. They also use hydrogenated palm kernel oil, which creates trans fats during processing while contributing to global deforestation. Artificial flavoring includes vanillin made from wood pulp, literally paper industry waste that's been chemically processed to taste like vanilla. If you have family members with respiratory issues like asthma, the heating process makes Sara Lee pies particularly dangerous. The chemical reactions that occur during baking can trigger breathing problems. Here's a simple test. If heating a food product makes it smell strongly chemical or artificial, those are toxic compounds being released into your kitchen air. Hostess fruit pies are chemical bombs disguised as convenient snacks. These pies contain sodium benzoate, which combines with vitamin C in digestive systems to form benzene, a known carcinogen. Every time you eat one of these pies, you're potentially creating cancer-causing compounds inside your own body. The fruit filling contains more artificial flavoring than actual fruit. Cherry pies use red dye 40, which has been linked to hyperactivity in children and is completely banned in several European countries because of safety concerns. They also contain glycerin, commonly used in antifreeze and personal lubricants. While technically considered food safe, it's another example of industrial chemicals being used instead of real food ingredients. Hostess pies are particularly insidious because they're specifically marketed to children and teenagers as convenient snacks. These are the consumers most vulnerable to behavioral effects of artificial preservatives and colors. If you're packing school lunches or buying snacks for kids, you're essentially giving them portable cancer risks. For teenagers whose brains are still developing, the artificial colors can cause attention problems and hyperactivity that affects their academic performance. Shopping tip: if a fruit pie is bright, unnaturally colored, it's artificial dye, not real fruit. Real fruit fillings are typically duller, more natural-looking colors. Finally, Little Debbie holiday pies represent the absolute worst of industrial dessert production. Little Debbie pies contain calcium propionate, which disrupts communication pathways between digestive systems and brains. Studies have shown this preservative can cause behavioral problems in children, including hyperactivity, attention issues, and sleep disturbances. High fructose corn syrup content is astronomical, often the second ingredient after flour. HFCS is more addictive than regular sugar and has been directly linked to obesity, diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. These pies use artificial flavors exclusively. There's no real fruit, no real vanilla, no real anything. You're eating laboratory-created compounds, specifically designed to trigger pleasure centers in brains and create cravings for more. Artificial colors include multiple dyes that have been banned in other countries, but remain legal in American food. These dyes can cause hyperactivity and behavioral problems in sensitive children. Little Debbie pies are particularly dangerous because they're cheap, widely available, and specifically marketed to families with children. Parents buy them thinking they're giving kids treats, not realizing they're feeding them chemical experiments designed to create addiction. If you're wondering why your child has trouble focusing at school or sleeping at night, check what snacks they're eating. The calcium propionate in these pies literally disrupts brain function. Label reading tip: if high fructose corn syrup appears in the first 3 ingredients, you're looking at sugar addiction in a package, not food. Before I tell you the ultimate truth that connects all of this, I need you to comment below and let me know which of these pie brands shocked you the most. And if this investigation is helping you protect your family, please share this video with everyone you care about. Every parent deserves to know what they're really serving for Thanksgiving dessert. Here's the revelation that's going to blow your mind. Every single one of these 10 pie brands uses ingredients that are banned or heavily restricted in over 40 countries around the world. 40 countries have looked at these exact chemicals and decided they're too dangerous for their citizens. But in America, the FDA calls them generally recognized as safe. Our food safety system is completely broken. The FDA allows companies to submit their own safety studies they pay for and control, and then accepts those studies without conducting independent research. It's like letting criminals investigate their own crimes. Multiple companies are facing active federal lawsuits for lying about their ingredients, but their products are still on store shelves. Right now, Edwards and Mrs. Smith's are in court for deceptive labeling, but you can walk into any grocery store and buy their pies today. This isn't about convenience or tradition. This is about maximizing corporate profits while minimizing ingredient costs, regardless of what it does to American families. These companies have engineered products that last forever on shelves, trigger addictive cravings through artificial flavors, and cost almost nothing to produce. Your family's health is just collateral damage in their profit optimization strategy. The average American family spends $847 per year on processed dessert products like these pies. That's $847 spent on slowly poisoning your loved ones, when you could be buying real food for the same money. But here's the good news. You have safe alternatives that won't compromise your family's health or ruin your Thanksgiving tradition. Finding brands that use real ingredients, natural preservation methods, and honest labeling is key. These companies prove you can make delicious pies without poisoning customers. Trader Joe's organic pies use certified organic ingredients with no synthetic preservatives. Their apple pies contain actual apples, organic flour, and real butter. At $4.99, they cost about the same as toxic alternatives, but deliver real food instead of chemical experiments. When you read the ingredient list, you'll recognize every single item. Whole Foods. 365. Organic pies maintain even stricter standards with complete supply chain transparency. You can trace every ingredient back to the farm where it was grown. Their pumpkin pies use organic pumpkin, organic cream, and natural spices. Exactly what pie should be made from. For families dealing with dietary restrictions, Katz gluten-free pies offer safe options without sacrificing flavor. They use ancient grains, natural sweeteners, and real fruit fillings. Their facility is dedicated gluten-free, meaning zero risk of cross-contamination. If you want premium quality, Petee's Pie Company uses grass-fed butter, organic flour, and locally sourced seasonal fruit. These taste like what pies used to taste like before corporations replaced real ingredients with industrial chemicals. Local bakeries are often your absolute best option. They use real ingredients, bake everything fresh, and don't need industrial preservatives because their pies are meant to be eaten within days, not stored for months. Here's how to shop smart. Look for ingredient lists with fewer than 8 items. If you can't pronounce an ingredient or don't recognize it as food, don't buy it. Real pies should contain ingredients you could buy separately and make yourself. These represent what pies should actually be. Real ingredients that nourish families instead of slowly poisoning them over time. Your family deserves so much better than chemical-laden pies disguised as traditional desserts. They deserve real food made with real ingredients by companies that actually care about their customers' health. Changing your pie brand won't revolutionize your family's health overnight, but it's an important step toward taking control of what you feed the people you love most. It's about supporting companies that respect your health instead of exploiting your trust for profit. Because when it comes to your family's health and safety, there really is no such thing as just this once. Thanks for watching, and have a truly safe and healthy Thanksgiving. Check out one of the 2 videos on your screen now.